attention, Aquarius I am. We in the Aquarius age for the next 2,000 years, you dig?
Swing low, time to move on. Light years in time, ahead of our time.
I want to free your mind by helping you understand the zodiac signs. That's right, you're live with Aquaman in the zodiac zone where the cosmos is your home. I'm your very own Anpu, the real urban guru, coming through on the mothership. So let's open up your cosmic memory bank and swing down to earth where the shit stank. Hey everybody, welcome back to Hip Hop Astrology TV. I'm your host, Anpu, the real urban guru. And today we're going to talk about Saturn, man. Saturn. So, man, where do we start with the boogeyman? You know, I have to start this conversation off with saying all planets are a mirror of your own internal psychological process. I think we got to really grasp that understanding. So, you know that, let's just take the Egyptian civilization, for example, had a severe admiration for the cosmos, right? You would say the three pyramids are in alignment to the stars in Orion's belt, right? That's like a known fact, okay? And the Great Sphinx of Egypt is something that mirrors the Leo constellation. Very interesting. Now maybe I'll save the mysteries of that correspondence for another video. So here they were walking around with sun disk on their heads and all these cosmic themes. Okay. So it is clear that that particular civilization, the Egyptian civilization, also known as the Kemetic civilization, wanted you to understand that they were dealing with cosmology, a study of the cosmos, and how it relates to their own consciousness. Very important, because everybody had a mask on their head. The head lodges the brain. The brain is the let's say organ that facilitates consciousness. It is not consciousness itself, but it is something that processes and facilitates what consciousness is. Okay? All right. So later, the truth of the matter is later throughout the evolution of humanity, Christianity comes, right, and starts to grasp some of these same concepts. The Greeks come and start to grasp some of these same concepts, right? So the oral tradition is of world history. The Greeks come down and they start getting educated by Egyptians. The Greeks go and start, building up their system of theology where you start having these gods, and these gods become Zeus or Thor. And, all of these things, and they really represent certain cosmic bodies. Like I always say, the moon becomes Diana. Aries, which is ruled by Mars, becomes the god of war. Apollo becomes the sun god, right? And we start depicting these cosmic principles as gods and goddesses who have personality types. Why? Because they had a very profound understanding that these cosmic bodies have an interrelationship with the human psychology. Okay. All right. So let's just deal with Saturn, the old devil, Saturn, Satan. It's very interesting because the Son of God on the external. See, we always say this over here with the priesthood. The Bible got so many levels to it that it's perhaps one of and Minister Jewish say it is the greatest book on earth. It's definitely the #1 selling book. And we have to understand why that is. There are many layers to it that the average mind just can't comprehend because it's speaking in symbolic terms. a man was in the belly of a fish. You don't understand it because it's too abstract. Okay? You got to have a certain spiritual eye and aptitude mentally to be able to understand what it's talking about. So on the external level, Satan is Saturn. And the Son of God is the sun in the sky who has these 12 disciples, which is the sun traveling through the 12 different months, also known as the 12 different zodiac signs. This is a fact. This is verified in the Old Testament in Genesis 49, where Jacob has the 12 sons. But he also has a daughter. That's the moon. You gotta understand this whole thing, man. All right. Her name is Dinah. All right. Dinah is like basically the same etymology of Diana in the Greek, which is the moon goddess. Okay. So anyway, the Son of God is traveling with the 12 disciples, and the Son of God always has to have this fight with Set in Egypt, or what we would call the devil, Satan. Okay. Notice that though. Notice that Set in Egypt looks like this goat type of figure, which is the same energy of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, Satan. Okay. All right. So let's deal with the external universe for a second to get some correspondence here. So Saturn rules Capricorn. What do you mean when you say that, bro? Each planet outside in the solar system has a zodiac sign that it calls home. That's all I'm talking about this time. There's also a sign that it don't like to be in. Then there's also a second sign that it feels like it's at home too. So it's kind of like its second house. Okay. So each planet has a sign that it's dignified in, that it says, this is my dominion right here. This is my house. I represent this. This is me. For Saturn, it's Capricorn. This is very interesting because this year, like December 20th, 21st December 2017, the 20th, 21st of last year, it's December that just passed, Saturn moved into Capricorn. This is major because Saturn's average rotation is about 28 to 30 years around the sun to make a full circle. It stays in the zodiac sign on average for about 2.5 years. So Saturn will leave Capricorn December of 2020. So Saturn's at home here. So the question becomes, well, what does it mean? Well, what's the energy of Saturn and Capricorn? It's the same thing. Well, you see a lot of keywords here. You have to understand that every planet and everything in creation deals with polarity, duality. There's a positive pole and there's a negative pole. I always give the terminology of a battery terminal. Electricity must exist between positive and negative. Okay? We get stuck on one particular pole when you're God, which is light force energy that sits in between the poles. The poles are just here to help you express something. So you know it as good vibes and bad vibes. Okay? So the bad vibes of Saturn really represents coldness, limitations, fear, restriction, failure, losses. Then the positive vibes represent hard work, consistency, get it, like over and over again, grind, and it's going to be something that's going to materialize for you. Saturn's energy is a part of your psychology that demands that you take responsibility. This is something that's known, and you can Google it. It's called the Saturn return. That simply means from the time of observation, whether it's your birthday, where Saturn was when you were born, or wherever you're looking at Saturn at, it takes approximately 28 to 30 years for it to go full circle and come back to that exact same place you're having a Saturn return. So when you're 28 to 30 years old, if you think back in your own life, if you were not making responsible decisions, life seems to have a set of circumstances that forced you to grow up. You're turning 30 now. I gave 2 good examples on this channel. The video with 7 Streeter, who went through depression, which is a keyword for Saturn and all these things. Okay. She was going through her Saturn return. And then Meek Mill, who recently was taking responsibility for starting to beef with Drake. And he was just owning up to his own level of responsibility. Like, yo, I was doing drugs. I just needed to, I'm 30 now. I just need to shift my focus. See, I'm telling you, this is real stuff. You can go check that. I believe that was a Angie Martinez interview. He was talking like that. Okay. So when the planet Saturn comes around to certain things in the sky, then it will be a mirror that it's time for you to shift gears. So humanity as a whole is observing Saturn and Capricorn. But here's the key, and this is what scientists really don't understand, is the energy of where it is. We know it's in Capricorn, has a different effect for us as individuals, although everybody is observing the same thing. How can that be? Okay, well, let me give it to you like this. Imagine, first of all, we have to know that the 4 directions in space, okay, above our heads or just around us, represent 4 different areas of energy, bare minimum. Okay, just looking at 4 directions. I'll prove it. In the morning, the sun rises in the east. It appears to rise because it don't rise, but anyway, the sun rises in the east. It's fresh. There's a certain energy there. Approximately about 4 to 6 hours later, the sun is now due south. Okay. So now this is high noon. This is lunchtime. This is recreation. The energy of the sun appears to be at its zenith, meaning its highest position in the sky all day long. The highest position of anything that is moving is in the southern portion of the sky. Okay. Then hours later, the sun is in the west. It's setting. A different energy. Although today is January the 12th, if you were born at sunrise in the east, or whether you were born at noon when the energy's in the south, or at sunset when the energy's in the west, those different areas of space represent different areas of your life. It's no different than you traveling eastward. If you're in the United States and you're traveling east, you're going to end up on the Atlantic Ocean somehow. Just keep going. And if you were born with energy in the west, keep on going. You're going to end up on the Pacific Ocean somehow. I promise you. Okay. So different directions take you different places. Therefore, the energy around you in space, these are called different areas of your life. In astrology, this is called the 12 houses. The houses is nothing more than cutting up a circle above you or around you into 12 different areas. And these represent different areas of your life. Here's a fact. And Google this. The 7th house in astrology is known as the DC, the descendant, because on the western portion of the sky, the sun appears to go down. The 7th house is ruled by the 7th zodiac sign, which is Libra. Libra rules marriages and relationships. Is it not true that relationships love to walk on the beach? Couples in a relationship love to walk on the beach, hold hands, and look at the sunset. Yes, they do. They find it very romantic. Why? Because the western portion of the sky rules relationships. This is a fact. Okay? All right. So it's different for individuals, the energy, because you could be born with energy here, and then the person born on the same day could be born with the energy over here. These are different areas of your life to show you how you must tap into this energy. and where it's trying to get your attention for you to focus on. Okay. All right. Because it may be money for one person. It may be relationships for another. It may be health for the other person. And Saturn going through the 6th house definitely can represent some type of chronic ailment. If you look at a key word for Saturn, you will see monotony. You will see deficiency. You'll see chronic ailments in the second column from the right. Okay. So going through the 6th house, which is the house of health, that area of the sky for you, for the next 2.5 years, you got to be on point dealing with your health. Okay. This is how it works. Okay. So Saturn rules Capricorn. It's cold outside. It's the beginning of winter. An external study for us to really observe. It's kind of like the Farmer's Almanac. And again, here's something to shout at you scientists. If the planets wasn't having an effect on humanity in some shape, form, or fashion, why is it that the Farmer's Almanac has the ephemeris, which tells you where the planets are actually located? Who cares? Why? Why is the farmer obsessed with knowing the position of the planets? We know why. And this science knows why. Okay. Now, the observation to make is, since Saturn rules Capricorn, and you'll see a keyword for Saturn is cold, then because it rules winter, then the observation will be from winter of 2018 and 2019 to see if these two winters are going to be record snowfall winters, record levels of freezing and coldness. Just an observation. So we got to do the homework and observe that like scientists, okay? Because it rules this energy. Now, I was going to tell you something here. I had a flash, and my flash was, let me show you a perfect example of Capricorn. Is by far my favorite CEO in the game right now of life. Seriously. And I'm not bullcrap, man. It's Keyshia Ka'oir all day long. I'm talking about building a brand. I'm talking about holding it down. I'm talking about just grinding, whether it be you at Bonner Brothers doing your thing and building it from scratch, whether it be you hosting your own shows, whether I watched a house get built from the ground up before and saw the after pictures and continue to see progress. That's Capricorn. Work hard, grind. Keyword for Capricorn, my favorite keyword, success. Okay? Success. So Saturn in Capricorn right now is, again, spinning of energy that's demanding you to boss up and be successful in a certain area of your life. Again, you will have to know the time that you were born to pinpoint exactly where this area is at. Okay? This is, and again, when it's cold outside, nature starts to regress for those in the northern hemisphere at this time. And so nature starts to regress. So it's kind of like the sun is dying, right? So if you were to go old school and measure sunlight, you will see that on December 21st, round about the 21st, 22nd, for a period of 3 days, it would appear that the sun is not setting, is setting and rising in the same position. And then slowly around Christmas time, you'll start to see that, oh, wait a minute, it's starting to rise a little bit over here now. So let me be clear. On December 21st, 22nd, you can say the sun is rising right here in the east. And then around Christmas time, the sun starts to rise a little bit more to the right, which is going south. A little bit more to the right each day, a little bit more to the right. Measure it and see. Okay. So it looked like around Christmas, the sun has risen. And this is the mythology, the cosmic theology, rather, of a cosmic principle, a universal principle of the sun, but it was put inside of a story of Christ. Okay. But something that I show my light body students is all of those 12 energies is inside of you. And what does it mean to be in harmony with that to get you to come alive? That's the name of the game. You have to become Jesus Christ. That's why the scripture says, do you not know that ye are gods? You are the God. Okay? So you keep getting lost with this. Well, I didn't create the earth, so I'm not the God. And you totally lose focus on what that means. All right. So the sun appears to get killed in a sense in Capricorn season. Satan and the sun going at it. The energies are totally opposite, man. Totally opposite. One is warm and hot, sun, and the other is cold and rigid, Saturn. Okay. Question is, who's going to be victorious? You got to understand that one's not better than the other. These are a duality within nature. Extreme opposites complement one another. What do you mean? When it's hot outside, what do you want? You want cold air conditioner. When it's cold outside, what do you want? You want hot heat. You want the opposite element to neutralize whatever that particular state is in. Okay. All right. So if you want to find out more about this thing, again, it's going to be there for 2 years. You need to know where it's at for yourself. Two things. You can get at me directly. All right. Get at me directly. I'm gonna have to read. I'm gonna start reading the chart. I got this one, brother. I should have did that, but I just want to test out this new camera real fast, for real. But I wanted to get this video out as well. But I'm gonna start taking some birthdays and showing the chart, and that way you'll start to get the education of what you're looking at. Okay, and I'm just gonna start doing that in these particular videos and whatnot, and you know, pointing the arrows to it like I do, so you can see it. And then starting to build up the interpretation so you can learn this particular craft. But I'm also coming out with a mentoring program dealing with this science on how you can get it firsthand, because there's techniques that you can do, techniques that you absolutely must do, because it's all about energy, man. It's all about energy. All right. So be on the lookout for that. Get the self-activation workbook. All right. Self-activation workbook, myastrologycoach.com, shop tab. Workbook, get that. Go to the consultation tab. Hit me up if you want to get a one-on-one that is recorded on a private conference call, and then when we get off the phone, I email it to you and the download. You got it for your record. The keys, man. We got the keys, the astro keys. The key for the day: believe in the hustle. That's Saturn. Work it, work it, work it. Believe in your hustle. All right. So with that, you need me, get at me. Peace.
Prophecy is what we all have to go by now.